Just give me the word.
Yeah, it's still setting it up. Slow today.
This has been a week, baby.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like we're now
Official.
official. Yeah.
Could I just ask,
Okay, we're good. We're good.
if I may, where my name appears when I'm not showing the video, I see others have, like the thumbnail sketches up there. I can't figure out how to do it. Like if I have to run to the bathroom or something, instead of having my name there, just to have my photograph. Is there any way to do that? Easy? No?
No.
It's something in the in your Zoom app.
Right.
If you have Zoom app on your computer or your phone, it's got
Okay.
settings.
So, okay, understand. I'll do that some other time. Thank you.
You know, a lot of people not going to be coming today, unfortunately. Okay, just give me the word. Are we ready to rock?
Yeah, I think we're ready to rock.
Okay, hello everybody. We made it to Helen back. Welcome to Brownstone Poets. We're back from the hiatus. Give yourself a round of applause. If the sun is out here in Brooklyn, hopefully it's sunny where you are. And thank you for your support. I know we have a lot of activities going on in September, but we're here, and we're here for the poets. We're here for Harvey Sauce, Mona's Zamfir School, and Charles Corbin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let me just give it a hold down here. We have we have the chat room.
Here we go. An echo someplace.
You okay?
Can everybody make sure they're on mute?
Okay.
Can everyone make sure they're on mute?
Okay, mute everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to start muting people because they're not. Okay, we're good now.
Patricia's on mute.
Patricia, you're muted.
Hi.
Okay.
Can you change the person who's coming on? Is that John? Is that John? Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm going to rename you. Hold on, John Beaton, right?
You're talking to John McMullen or another John?
No, John Beaton. Yeah.
Okay, I just renamed you John Beaton. Okay. Okay, welcome to Brownstone Poets. Give yourself a round of applause. We're here to celebrate Harvey Sauce, Charles Corbin, Mona Zamfir. Hope I didn't mess up your name. And we have the chat room here, and feel free to post your books or your upcoming events. And we need, and also the chat room, make nice comments. We're here as a friendly, free space for people to share and show their love and support. No fights on the chat room, please. And remember, 15 minutes for the features. We start with about 10 people on the open mic list. We have features 1 and 2, who are going to be Mona and Harvey. And then we're going to have the break for 50 minutes. And when Roxy comes back, we're going to have the next 8 to 10 people. And then we're going to come back with feature number 3, who will be Charles. And then we're going to finish up with the rest of the open mic. And when people are speaking, please remain muted if you're not reading. Okay? I'm going to read off who's going to read first for the open mic. We have John McMullen and Beth S.K. Morris, Elizabeth Moss, Ron Bremner, Laura Greville. Is she here? I guess she's not here. Beverly George, is she? Yeah, Beverly George. Karen Newberg, I don't think I see her. Okay. And Josephine LeRae. Michael Labamba, is he here? Nope. Amy Barone, I don't see her. Therese and William Constantine and Edward Gold. Okay. Ready. Please keep it to 3 minutes. We start with John McMullen. Take it away and please unmute and share. Thank you.
A recent poem, my first poem, and two other poems, which I hope to get in. Therese has heard these at a recent thing, but I don't think anyone else has. Are we a sick society? It may seem so. After all, in my lifetime, a president has been assassinated, John Kennedy, shot Ronald Reagan, threatened with a gun, Gerald Ford, twice. And now, in the course of 2 months, an ex-president and current candidate has been shot at twice, Donald Trump. For most of these attacks on democracy, the motivations are evident, except in the first Trump attack, when it was killed during it. Ronald Reagan's assailant was initially thought to have political motivations until it was determined that John Hinckley's bizarre reason was to impress Jodie Fawcett, an actress who never heard of him. And now we have Trump's second attacker, Ryan W. Roth, a 58-year-old man with a record of weapons-related felonies who supposedly went to Ukraine last year to offer to fight despite having no military experience. One would have thought that Roth would have been under close government surveillance, as he has self-published the 2023 231-page anti-Trump book accusing him of threatening American democracy and telling readers, you are free to assassinate Trump. Well, a lot of craziness, huh? Really not so much. Only 6 individuals from hundreds of millions of Americans in 64 years have attempted to kill a president. And there is constant evidence of works of heroism and charity in our daily press and media. To be sure, we are a politically divided nation, possibly the most since pre-World War II, but we can't overcome this seeming fracture, hopefully, after coming election. We must certainly be vigilant as we go on. But we are not a sick society. Rather, we have a few sick people in a society that constantly strives to improve. With the present focus, with the proper focus, we can revive the spirit of we shall overcome. That was the first. Then there's 2 recently published in Scars publications. Down in the dirt, a special place in hell. There's a special place in hell for those actors in white coats who pretend to be doctors, telling us that the camels were good for our T-zones when the chest feels satisfied. I gave up smoking 43 years ago, but was diagnosed with emphysema 8 years ago. I just found out that a friend is to treat bladder cancer, and such infection is caused by smoking. So I hope that these actors have both emphysema and bladder cancer while they rot in hell. I think that's my 3 minutes. So
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
A word to everybody here. Yes, those who sign, who register, are automatically on our open list. First come, first serve, unless you have to leave early. Thank you. Thank you again, John. Okay, next up we have Beth. Beth, unmute and share.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, I don't have the screen, so I don't know what's happening. Am I on screen at your end?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Last week was the 23rd anniversary of 9/11, and I'm going to read a short poem from my book, In the Aftermath, 9/11, Through a Volunteer's Eyes. At the memorial, Vesey Street Station, force yourself to climb the steps. Turn towards the towers, now calm, clean, tourist ready. For you, still smoke and wreckage. 3,000 photos, dress uniforms, wedding gowns, bind the museum walls. Youth rising above the pit, lives descending into stone. And now I'm going to give a very short shout out to Brownstone Poets and the 2024 anthology coming out. If you haven't gotten it, get it. Brava to Roxanne and Patricia. This is one of the poems in the anthology. It's from my new book coming out this fall, Please Dear. And it's called First Love, from a yellowed notebook. First Love. His name was Edgar. My father picked him up from the railroad stop in Landing, New Jersey, to help dig up the boulders, rake the dirt, smooth the ground for laying on the topsoil, which would become our lawn, my mother's gardens. He left each day at sunset. I don't know where he slept. I watched my father and Edgar work on the hill around our bungalow in the unrelenting August sun until lunchtime. Mother made Edgar the same meal, a cheese sandwich and a glass of milk, sometimes an orange. It was my job to carry the tray out to the porch. She wouldn't let him inside. Edgar rolled cigarettes, spoke in a strange, soft voice. I didn't care. He had a banjo. After lunch, he'd play his country songs. My darling Clementine, oh, Susanna, teach me the forbidden verses to the Big Rock Candy Mountain. I'd share his food, sing with him, dance around his chair. Then one day he disappeared. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Elizabeth Moss, and then Ron Bremer. Elizabeth, please unmute and share.
Okay. Vacation. Monica and Joyce set out for mountains in a beat-up SUV. Any time is a good time for this much-loved excursion. The radio plays songs from years ago as though time has been sliced open. They talk and drink bottled water. Monica pulls back her hair, flicking the fastener once, twice. Their words spin crimson sorrows and flaming complaints. The rising and falling of voices visits the landscape around them, opens windows and windshields. Any time is a good time to talk about people they know. Joyce frowns and pays for sandwiches, biting hers and discarding the wrapper as though it's the hours she regrets. Back in the car, the radio plays songs from years ago, letting Monica and Joyce feel young womanhood again. Noxema, skim milk, and eggs over easy, just as recall. Any time is a good time to picture the recent past as well. Dark summer lakes, injured children, drunken husbands. Monica and Joyce drive switchback roads in their SUV, content by themselves, family members remote or dead. They can see their destination, a cabin lost in distant memory. Do I have time for another one?
Yes, little one, short one.
Okay. Trust.
Happy Catter Day. Happy Catter Day.
Happy Catter Day to all. Trust. I trust the birds to make their not so tiny sounds. I trust the trees to rustle outside my window. I trust the chair to let me sit, read, and imagine. I trust the moon to light my way as I walk. I trust the sidewalk to carry me home. I trust my cats to sit on me and purr. I trust the rain to soothe me to sleep. I trust my dreams to sort the impressions of yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well done. Okay, meow. Okay, next up, we're going to have Beverly, we're going to have Ron Bremer, and then Beverly George.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, my friend Ken Ronkowitz runs this marvelous venue every month. It's called Poets Online, and I've had about 20 poems over the years in it, and this is one of them. I met you in June. I met you in June when the sun was high and the sky was full of light. You streamed like sunlight into the Kiev, a restaurant long since departed on bustling Second Avenue. The place was packed full, so you set down your enormous tote at my table and asked if I minded. Your hair was askew, your sundress a whirl of color and fragrance. That October, we returned to the scene of the crime. All was right with the world, with our borscht and kasha, with our classes at NYU, and with us. This June, I sit in a Starbucks where no light streams through the smoked glass windows. The village has changed so much in 30 years. There's no Cafe Borgia, no Bleecker Street Cinema, and especially no Kiev. We don't go to classes at NYU anymore. And there is no more us. Yes, I met you in June. And do I have time for a short one? Okay. This is an erasure.
Yeah, Pat. Yeah, go ahead. I don't know what happened. Patty, are you on mute?
Okay, this is an erasure of the Sylvia Plath poem Mirror. I am I. I swallow love. I am cruel, truthful, a little god. I meditate on the pink. It is my heart. It flickers darkness. Now I am a woman, me, searching for what she really is. Liars reflect me. I am important. Me, a young girl, and me, an old woman. Day after day. Terrible. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was trying to like send information to somebody who claims she didn't get a link.
Okay.
I'm going crazy. This is all I'm getting like bing, bing, bings throughout the whole reading here. I don't have the link to come on. I signed up. Wonderful, Ron. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Beverly George. Welcome to Brownstones.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the first one I have is called Eyes of a Child. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Waves of bullets break nightmare shores. Drive-bys target city core, leaving eulogies like footnotes to apologies. While a mother somewhere walks to the grocery store on cracked sidewalks where determined clover break through concrete floors. 12-foot spray painted graffiti stare at John's on blood-stained street corners and after-school centers reform graduating gangbangers. And some escape drugs that leach innocent springs and find a dream to hold on to like mother's arms once held them. Some rescue hope in a falling star and step up with milk and diapers for babies fathered before they became men and found God in the eyes of their child. And the next one is called Slave Mother's Love. God gave her the night. Stars prayed for slave Harriet Bailey when, cloaked in courage, she trod through forests to that neighboring plantation 12 long miles away. Through thick curtain of darkness, she glimpsed a distant glimmer of light from the cabin ahead, where her infant Frederick slept unaware. She was ushered in then, radiant with a slave mother's relentless love to hold the one the world now knows. Before bright stars closed their eyes and yielded to dawn, she laid him in his cradle and conceded time for departure. Blue shawl pulled round her heart. She retraced 12 miles through the forest before daybreak.
Beautiful. Welcome. Thank you so much. Come again. I really love your poetry. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Josephine Leray in the car.
Hi, everyone. Actually, I'm outside. There might be some noise, but hopefully it'll stay quiet. This is a 3-part poem called Autumn Equinox. The dog is mad at the howl of wind and is barking my head off. 3 more heads sprout in its place. 1 for the shroud of yesterday, 1 for the strangle of tomorrow, and the 3rd stunted, low brow, uneven teeth for the mess that is now. I want the dog to stop, but he must bark as I must pull tomatoes that will no longer ripen on the vine, for it is equinox, and maybe tonight I should offer the soft, naked animal of my body to the whispering moon, but maybe not tonight. Skunks skulk, enticing lovers with a jab of their musk. What kind of lover would I entice if I were a skunk? Part 2, grackles. Yesterday, grackles filled the yard, the shallow cement bath, the feeder, my lawn flecked with fallen gold, then flew up in shadow to darken the fence while they decided what next. They were okay when I came out with a camera, clouding again the rim of my fence, but gave up when the cat appeared, the dog. 2 legs good, 4 legs not, 10 legs, and those heads, those tumbled heads littering the lawn crowded with a flocking of grackles, unripened tomatoes, and the pears that fell to the ground. Soft flesh, rotten core. Is everything in life a metaphor? And those apples puckered were bitten by late frost. Not quite done, just turning the page in the wind.
Wow, life a metaphor. Love it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Last year, baskets and baskets, but this year only 3, 4, and it is only pity that picked them and brought them inside. Part 3, tonight. Maybe tonight I should strip to my skin and lob them one by one to the face of the unforgiving moon. Would they come rolling back at my feet? Thank you, everyone. This is Josephine Leray, live in Wyoming.
Thank you. Traveling around.
Yes.
Canadian travels. Okay. Okay, since a lot of people are not showing up, we're gonna end. We're gonna have Therese next, William next, and we're gonna end with Edward. Okay, and then we're gonna have the second round. We're gonna have Peter Kozlowski, Margaret Sirocco, Richard Spizak, Hiram LaRue, Lynn Shapiro. Well, she's not here. Oh, don't. And Susan Murray, and then we're going to have and John Beaton, and then the final round we're going to have Tammy Smith, Charlie I don't see a lot of these people didn't come. Carolyn, is Carolyn here? I guess not. Well, we'll have Neil, he'll read, myself, and Roxanne. Okay, so Therese, unmute and share.
Can I share my screen?
I don't know if we're able to do it. Roxy?
I don't think we have that enabled.
Okay, that's all right. I'm going to read a series of haikus. Some people have heard them, and then a short poem. And these were inspired by Flannery O'Connor, reading some of her books. Immortality. Do you know when you're hanging festive lights bright at Christmastide, and when children sing carols, they bring reminders of death? Irresistible reality. Sorry about that. Work out the layers of meaningless, hollowing through to desire. We're the last to know. Allures can fool you. Daily living will undress when pressed, self-seeking. Transformation. Life's richness forestalled, waiting for apologies, co-creation stilled. The false self. We share our power while hiding deep within us our need for control. Undressing hierarchies. As our God sees us, different yet blessed, we confess love in one body. Greed. This is by Teilhard. Economics shape our everyday encounters. As the source, it kills. Unmediated capitalism. Sorry about that. Keep losing my space here. Now economics hijack daily encounters. Competition reigns. Ahimsa, suffering love. Living is enough. Jesus taught in the temple as his parents wept. Suffering parents sought him, come away with us. Sorry about that, I'm losing it again. Okay, he did as they said. Life's wondrous gifts unfold in day-to-day life. Exchange strife for bliss. There is no other way. We are often led astray, preferring magic. Self-will is disguised. The pretender of false gifts won't lift your despair. Love has the last say. We're found in the day-to-day. We need each other. And who sustains us? The benevolent other. And then this is a short poem. The resurrection. As the earth swelled when he fell and tore in two, so too within the tomb, the womb of the universe, not simply the earth, arose the birth of eternal life. The earth gave way as trees swayed in the wind, and their roots overflowed with precious jewels, cracked and glistened topaz, emeralds, diamonds, gold, metals, ore, and even more. The thunderous applause of the dead alive immersed in my resurrection. At first I was slow as I presided below into the dark beyond the veil of time and space, into a place unknown. And now, somehow, love rushed into my being, spilling over, freeing them all at last. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And hold on one second. I'm gonna send you, hold on 1 second. I'm sending an email to someone here. Okay, hold on. Okay, back again. Because I see some person did not sign, whatever. Okay. Next, okay, thank you so much, Therese. It's beautiful. And next we're gonna have William Considine. Unmute and share. Thank you. Unmute, Bill.
Yeah, I had to
It's okay.
navigate all around. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is called Open and Concealed. My father went to war and flew like ancient gods. My battles were only pretend among young boys. Our cap guns went bang, air rifles went puff. We wore coonskin caps and killed hundreds of people indigenous to the land and Mexicans reclaiming the Alamo from invader slavers. We killed many Nazis, Red Chinese, and cowboy bandits who robbed banks and rustled cattle. We were wounded or killed too. Many times I clutched my chest and fell dramatically the short distance to the grass. I've escaped the real world wars. I've escaped the real wars of all my days so far, drawing a high number in the draft lottery for Vietnam. But now it appears a next war may not be easily escaped. Guns are all around. You've heard the talk. So-called militias are outright insurrectionists. Psy-op fantasies spun out of dark money, blare out of television, feed news, meaning newest lies, into electronic devices in everyone's pockets and purses. The oldest themes of race and patriarchy and brute authority stirred dark enthusiasms, telecast in living colors as horrific plans, killing dreams. It's both open and concealed carry. The elements of native and slave oppression, a people in arms with slave patrol militias, emerge from history's well-kept shadows as ghosts of tragedies still unfolding. How shall we sustain our better hopes? Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. We're going to end this round with Edward Galt. Edward, please mute and share.
Unplugged here. All right, this one is called Chocolate. Now, this is a new poem, and it's not in my book yet. I have to wait till next book, I guess. But anyway, this one is called Chocolate. I believe it was chocolate that I remember the most. Your first hamster in a long line. You had the complete setup, the cage, the wheel, the little house, and all the toys. We would take him out of the cage to play and to hold him, but he was a prisoner, if a high-class one, in a gilded cage. And with all that, he would still go stir crazy and need to get out. So he escaped. Actually, 2 or 3 times. And he was fast. Heaven forbid he ever get under the couch. I found him on the stairs once, which made it easy. I wasn't as quick. Chocolate had been with us for 3 years when he got sick. We took him to a neighbor who was a vet, and she prescribed something we could give him. Days passed, no improvement. We were on an errand one night and got back late. First thing in the door, and you checked on the hamster. You took him out. He was curled in your lap. Then he moved a bit, and he looked up at us as if to say goodbye. That's what he waited for, to say goodbye. Then the light went out of his eyes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Beautiful. Heart-wrenching. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. Wow. Okay. We're going to move on to the 2 first featured readers. We're going to have Mona Zanfriescu and Harvey Sauce. Okay, I'm going to start with Mona, and after these 2 features, we're going to have a 15-minute break. And when we come back, we're going to have the next, I guess, 6 people to read. And then we're going to have feature number 3, who will be Charles, and then the rest of the open. Okay? Okay. Mona Zanfriescu. Mona Zanfriescu is a professor of mathematics. She has been teaching at Baruch College, CUNY, since 2003. Although Mona has pursued a career as a mathematician, at heart, she is an artist who delights in poetry, photography, painting, graphic art, baking, and crafts of all kinds. Mona will begin an MFA program in creative writing poetry in the fall 2024 at CCNY. Go Mona! Let's give a warm Brownstone welcome to Mona Zanfriescu. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. You did good. Thank you for that and for having me here. I will read a few poems, but I also would like to share screen. I've already asked Roxanne about that, so I'll see if I can do that towards the end. The first poem is called Insomnia. Almost half my life I have lived under this maple tree and all that goes with it, thinking my countless sleepless nights are some sort of insomnia. In my rush from here to there, the sounds and smells of summer lost to me. I counted years, Hours, minutes of everything under the sun except these maple leaves, when they come and go, and the songbirds, when they come and go. I always had time to criticize, but not to hear. Hear this? Hear the incessant mowing, manicuring life to perfection, blowing all kinds of dreams to oblivion with clockwork precision. Put it away for now. I need my peace, I say. Quit for now the liturgy of incessant maintenance, high and low. Look at this tree, I say, always here. Don't think this poem is about it. Comings and goings are all the same. Look at this bee as it sucks out of a dead cicada the last summer song. Summer. Linden blossoms on all newspapers, drying the promise of a future tea. The black ink still wet with the rains of spring. The stories diffused, not news anymore, just words, unspoken, undone, unloved. In the kitchen, under mountains of sugar, sweet peaches boil the summer away, promised for a future time, for winters were barren and harsh back in the day. We stole the summer with ripe cherries, my grandfather's tree laden over the neighbor's yard, heavy with red glory. I'd reach my hands beyond the fence, a scrawny kid along the rough bark. I cherished that harsh embrace. No tomorrow on the heavy branches, just me sharing the boon. My little brother below, doubtful, his smile still dripping, red cherries and us. The days passed us, the days passed. Linden trees still line the streets of our town. Years gone by, years gone, the summers always promised away. New York poet. To tell you the truth, not a day goes by without thinking I have seen this before. Dragging my feet down Lexington Ave, how work is work, how years go by. Folks harried, their steps measured by the size of Starbucks cups. Venti, I say, leaving room for those in an even greater hurry. For the first time, I was happy here, once, thinking, this is it. Now I want to stop for a while and tell you I love you. Light bends around Gramercy Park, padlocks and empty benches. Not a day goes by without thinking life is passing me by. The pigeon lady still there in Union Square. The statue, Gandhi, looking away, my way, walking towards a peace I do not see. Lavender and honey, fresh bread, I'm passing them by. I think of you and work. I want to begin again. I told you already, my dreams on their way uptown. Slowly, the subway cars are full of empty cups. The next one is called New York City. Clear skies this September morning. I could almost be happy on my way to school. Me and kids like mine everywhere, thinking that it won't happen here. Not here. Not today. My first son was born out of my American dream on such a day in the year of the fall, in the city of concrete sustenance. The ecology of glass and steel, still foreign to us. I was almost happy here, months before the rubble hit the ground. Now, 20-odd years later, I find my words are still broken between my native and adopted tongue. How am I to know what to do about it? Years ago, on my way to work in Bryant Park, on a clear day like today, I met a man, quite possibly the only man around, not clutching at anything. There, anywhere. Hello. I heard his smile, softly, as he continued swiping the alleys, busy with the early leaves and the late blossoms. His eyes chocolate melting in the Georgia sun, peaches and young magnolias light on his dark old face. I was there too. A blessed day, he said, and he let me take his picture, and he smiled again. Life was different back in the day, in the old country, everywhere. We left our home thinking nothing will ever happen here. Here, now, we live our lives hoping that nothing will ever happen here. Not here, if we're lucky. Yet every day, here or somewhere, a happening breaking us open. My son would say, gone by his bed and camouflage fatigues on foreign shores. The sharp desert wind lines his face. He is still a kid. He will come home a man one day. I could almost be happy on my way to school. My words are still a jumbled mix of then and now and tomorrow, broken, confused, unrecognizable. When all is done and dusted, Mom, I'll volunteer again. Who will understand me? Who will forgive me? Who will hear me say, I could almost be happy here today? And now I would like to showcase a video, my latest collaboration with Neil Daswani, my friend, poet from Singapore, whom I'm so grateful for that he is here. I mean, it's only 3 a.m. in Singapore right now, so thank you, Neil, for being here and for all our collaboration. Thank you. Light and dark. Visions of light, some say, beware of the seductive sonorous reflections of the morning star, fallen from grace once again. Resplendent in the early dawn, the pride unveiled in light, that what is known, and all else feared, the greatest lure of all.
Why would the morning star be likened to a mace? Its head of spikes, gleaming, cold. In the first light of day, fallen angels herald the dawn.
Visions of light, some say, mirages in the deserts of our lives, to have and keep, to grasp and be lost in this mad rush. Some say that light obscures the real, treasures beyond treasures, treasures beyond thought, beyond thought.
Beware, beware the false dawns, offering glimmers of hope. With eyes half closed, we clutch at straws, seeking to turn them into gold. We tilt cauldrons to trap the light, mere flashes in a pan, broken promises, sun rays that bend through air and water.
Silence, goodwill, and love Leaving the shadows we taught ourselves to dread, the rags, the sores, the night. Visions of light, some say, beware of the sharp edges of strikes that never heal. Electric jolts herald the storms and the temptation of anger held beyond its use. Revenge and rancor held holy like a scepter. Remember the dark mother, the ground receiving the rod, the charge, the heat, the light.
What makes dark, dark? Perhaps it is our own darkness that shrinks away to hide. That's the dark that the light can't abide. Not so the primordial, primal stretch that predated all light. That dark was always there, neither moving nor still. Even before, light was but a gleam, a mote in some creator's eyes. That dark was always in the spark. So fear not the darkness, the absence of what we term as light. Fear not the vantablack of night. Be not afraid of the penumbra that offers up its succor of sleep, that bathes your heavy-lidded eyes, rubbing in gently the salve of slumber, taking you deep into the secret holster where misty shadows merge with the stuff of dreams. For our very beings were conceived in the dark, its cavernous canvas, the perfect backdrop to the pinpoint stars, to the snow as it somersaults.
Here, midday, midsummer, mid-glory, nothing comes into its fullness without light. Sheathed in shells, the seeds of our bodies yearn to come into being. See how light is birth, how birth is dark. Its heat is calling us all into ripening until the time is upon us. The dusk, when the flesh surrenders its sweetness for growth in her dark caves. The ground, our holy mother. Out here, for a while, summer is fading into early fall. Leaves ill their claim to light and color. Nothing to grasp, nothing to hold, nothing to fear. For dark is death, for death is light. I long for you. To see you best, I close my eyes for now and rest.
On the ancient color wheel, neither black nor white will find a place, as time and prayer spin through space, offering up their Eigengrau of gray. Its ashen hues dwell in our dreams, deep, deep, in the deep, dark tunnel where Elysian fields lie beyond the pinhole of white light, with all the darkness shining through. In the chiaroscuro, the windows of my mind, I paint all the light and dark that I see in you. Memories of the spring and summer before the fall. Beyond the salt and pepper of your flowing hair, your grisaille figure waits at both wings of this triptych, mercurial and ready to fly towards the crossing of either twilight. Your eyes to the horizon at the azimuth, seeking out angels before they fall.
Thank you,
Fabulous.
everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Wow. It's beyond. Wow. Thank you, Mona. Thank you for sharing, and thank you again, Neil, for collaborating. Okay, we're going to move on to Harvey Sauce. Harvey Sauce. Harvey won the Writer's Digest Writing Competition Poetry Prize Awards in 2015, 2017, 18, and 22. And in 2019, he was awarded the first prize in non-rhyming poetry. His poems have been finalists for the Montreal International Poetry Prize and have been accepted for publication by the University of Canberra's Vice Chancellor's International Poetry Prize, New Millennium, Shabda Press's Nuclear Impact Anthology, Spoke, and elsewhere here and abroad. In 2016, Harvey abandoned his law practice to write full-time. He has since founded and continues to host the monthly Artful Dodgers poetry series to showcase deserving work to an international audience. Let's give a warm Brownstone welcome to Harvey Sauce. Take it away, Harvey.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
A slight update, and that is this year I also won first, second, and fourth prizes in the Writer's Digest non-rhyming poetry contest, two of which I'll read today. And I'll also be posting an invitation to next Saturday's virtual open mic of Artful Dodgers poetry. The Shema referred to in this poem are the first few words in Hebraic liturgy. First poem was actually won first prize in the Writer's Digest contest. It's called His Name Was Yitzhak. As her father was being dragged away, casually marked off a checklist, his faded elegance not strong enough for forced labor at Daimler-Benz, his card stamped with a fatted calf's expiration date, his defiant Shema in all likelihood having pissed off a guard, he called out to her, "Remember my name, child," his last words to her. That she had survived was a miracle in itself. Only years later, able to purchase with her totemically American credit card a lampshade, without experiencing the usual feelings of scorpions climbing her spine, the fear it was some friend of hers whose skin had been flayed, a cousin or classmate. If the Allied troops had waited just one more day to advance, their sanitizing tanks and trucks mired down in the mud or engaged in suppressing skirmishers who stood in their way, rearguard Aryans whose blonde hair and stiff salutes made them easy targets. Camp liberators might have found her remains, the braces prized from her teeth positioned atop a pommel horse composed of corpses. Her slim gymnast body arrested in the act of vaulting towards freedom, Eichmann's poster girl for Zyklon B. With not enough flesh left on her bones to serve as soup meat, pick a number, any number between 1 and 6 million, and cursed by the math of it, that might have been her. Having decamped in Bronx, New York, she endures this Holocaust Remembrance Day alone, her grown children having mothballed their heritage. These 24 hours of mourning reminding housewife and investment banker of how close they'd come to not being born. Oh, they might pick up the phone, knowing how deeply embedded shards of Kristallnacht still cut recurrent nightmares of her parents being reduced to lard hitting her hard. Her mother in a yellow dress, her father, a retailer of luxury goods, putting on Prussian airs to drum up business, well regarded despite his Jewishness, Goyim angling for discounts, boasting of having Jewed him down, all but pinning a yellow star in his chest. The sort of thoughtless remark that might get him killed if the Nazis caught wind of it, as they did. She has since felt herself half-baked, an puffed pastry snatched from the oven too soon. How is a girl fatherless and motherless before having bled supposed to become a woman without a mother, hair done up in a bun to pat her on the head, urge her to finish her homework, point her in the right direction, be her cottage compass? This night she will light a candle in their names, say a prayer in Aramaic, a curse in English, the latter with a bitter taste. On this day of remembrance, in Bronx as at Yad Vashem, she remembers them all, father, mother, sister, brother, their hurtful truth and painful death. But her father especially, calling out to her, remember my name, child. His words tattooed like camp numbers on her brain. His name was Yitzhak, hers Ruth, Americanized to Ruth. This is for those who a poem for those who wonder when Putin will get his just desserts. It's called War Criminal, and the epigraph is, the International Criminal Court is not designed to act swiftly. It took the ICC, it seemed a lifetime, his and ours, to bring the charges, an eternity of Merlin-esque spellcasting to find him guilty. A gotcha moment. Photographs of Bucha, Mariupol, Kherson, Kharkiv bearing witness to what the dead could not. An irrefutable narrative of casual barbarism. Evidence of which crop rotation will turn up for years to come. Skulls of Ukrainian Yoriks unable to speak in their own defense. Someone has to speak for them and for the abducted children snatched from orphanages, or while standing confusedly over their murdered parents. A cunning sort of genocide by subtraction we'd never seen before, certainly not in such massive numbers. The accused pounding his fist against the bars for emphasis, offering to pinky swear, crossing his heart he knew nothing of what his troops had done. The Hague was littered with exhibits to the contrary. Reporters summing it up put it thusly, he doesn't look so tough now, does he? Sweat glistening on his balding head, judoka rattling his chains like some ghost of empire past, with no judo move to free him from truth's stranglehold. A thumbs down after appearing simultaneously in Interpol's most wanted, history's least wanted lists, an achievement duly chronicled by Guinness. Every so often, when ruling on procedural delays, a shiver was observed to have passed through a six-legged panel of judges, an ad hoc group of fates, perhaps a wave of realization that what had occurred didn't reek of Arendt's banality, certainly not to those survivors and their descendants camped on the courthouse steps. A verdict so delayed that some, veteran court washers, older now by decades, had to be reminded of why they had come. This one is called Colloquy with Your Brain Tumor. Why is it, you ask, that it never goes Dutch or shares the cost of your medication? Your copay weighing upon you almost as much as the prospect of death does. Several more months of this if the lump on your head doesn't go halvesies. You'll be selling umbrellas on street corners for your next fix of chemotherapy. The last thing you want to hear from those sad-eyed nurses bending over you like housewives over a pram is they metastasize so fast. In your present condition, irradiant as a bridegroom, you couldn't hokey-pokey your way out of a shroud of Turin. You try to reason with it. This is one hell of a state you've left me in, old pals, seeking, if not contrition, then remission. The wished-for miracle moldering in your closet like a spinster's hope chest. Expecting at least an A for effort with some length left on your lifeline, you receive an F on every blood test, not the okay, all clear you were looking for. Must the big C appear so prominently at parties and on CAT scans that it scares your guests? You scheme to shame rogue cells into leaving you alone, allowing that you've cheated on them once or twice with irritable bowel syndrome. comparing cancer's brutality to the Visigoths' sack of Rome. My parietal lobe is yours, you concede, folding your hand, willing as Lord Chamberlain to fork over to Dayton land and to sign divorce papers predicated on abandonment. Practically hairless as that film star Yul Brynner in his role as Taras Bulba, Gogol's Cossack, you beg, you plead, your brain tumor replying, not so fast, Bob. Your efforts at reconciliation, what the French might call a rapprochement, are rewarded with nothing but scorn. This growth on your noggin, a fifth columnist formerly the size of a tick bite, more and more resembling a nub of rhinoceros horn, of the sort endorsed by Chinese housewives for its sexual potency. And away we go, each new spasm of neoplasm scoffing at your effort to survive. Demon cells, card-carrying members of the Chaos Principles fan club, dismissive of that laying on of hands favored by oncologists and televangelists, your last resort being herbal remedies, placebos passed down from one generation to the next. Your clutch of protestations proves porous as a cheesecloth, a panzer unit of malignancy outflanking the Maginot line of your body's defenses, the blitzkrieg of the big C. Despite perfumed promises of an afterlife, deep down you know that in the here and now, this is your Alamo, your Custer's last stand, ground zero. Diving into limbo's sea of souls, you'll hold your nose and shout, Geronimo, your T-cell first responders, your body's cops and firemen, having failed to save you, distracted by the thought that cancer may follow you beyond the grave, bushwhacked by those sociopathic, assassination-minded cells, only too eager to die if they can take you with them, what tabloid headlines will refer to as a murder-suicide. This one came in second in that contest, Minotaur in Love. While out for a bit of shopping, Pasiphae's Catch Me If You Can, half-man slewed spore of great white hunters with maze-cracking ease. But these tracks seemed daintier than those of the Cretans and their guests he usually dined upon. Also, the smell was different, more like waffled honey of hived bees, sweetening garden paths he and only he knew by heart. So when he happened upon her, ardor and odor combined to knee him in the ball sack. Startled, he wasn't quite sure whether to flee or fight. It soon became apparent that she was lost, a shepherdess crooking after sheep lately on the menu, whose femurs he might have used to pick his teeth. To what human better half, it was love at first sight, finding that his beauty and the beast more beastly side would have preferred a good goring. When she smiled and asked for direction, her lifeline quivering in her palm, it was decided. He bowed, shyly it must be said. She curtsied and he heard cowbells. Smitten, his legs almost gave way to impudence of sand and sangre, a failing endured by lesser breeds, ungulates schooled only in bull ring gamesmanship and not in life's finer things. To his eyes, usually burning with Hephaestus's fire, she appeared indefensibly soft, certainly no bullfighter, more adorable than any picador of his acquaintance, squeezable as even the most delicate of toiletry products. She cowgirled no Wonder Woman lariat aloft, twirling cyclonically to rodeo his tasseled horns. By Zeus, she didn't. Nor did her heaving chest bear any mark of an Amazonian breastplate. Soon he had fashioned a xylophone out of bones of MIA Achaeans and played it for her. After she stood on tiptoe for a kiss, girlish to brutish lips, he had her take his tail, leading her through the maze and away from secular authority, whose views on mixed marriage were, well, mixed. Love perfumed them with its ambergris. He closed the labyrinth, hung a keep out sign, her apron strings hobbling his reflexive chasing. To those who knew them best, she made more of a man out of him than their story might suggest. King Minos reportedly bullish on their future. They lived together a long time before she died, become quasi-vegetarians. He buried her in the yard among scores of half-eaten heroes boasting special sauce. Weakened by loss, by lack of protein, he welcomed Theseus and death. As no less a mytho-populist than Thomas Bulfinch might have writ, had he but thought of it. When a half-man, half-bull falls, he falls hard. And the last one I'm going to do today is called,
you're almost time up.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, 1 more minute, that's it.
Let me see if I can squeeze something into a minute. I don't know that I can. Where are you then? Minute poem. Yeah, I think I can do this in a minute. If I can find the damn thing. Well, we'll do this one. Before we die, if CPR doesn't work, jolt us with the enormity of our overdue book fees. Slap on the paddles of those streaming series we've been meaning to view. Employ the shock value of a stock market plunge to prime the old pump until the blood runs away from acquiescence in its own demise. Don't waste your pennies on our eyes, numismatists say. They might be worth something one day. Fill a hospice ward with revivalists, take in vain the names of the many rock guards who've overdosed and flamed out, rekindling with flint and sticks some faint spark of hope our doctors might have missed. Before you settle us in hospice care, tell the attendings that if they can jumpstart a dead car battery in the parking lot, then damn sure they can jumpstart us. Just try a little harder, please. Put their backs into it. Beat us like a drum. Pound our chests without fear of breaking either heart or sternum. Signal success as a crossing guard might the stop-and-go traffic of systole, diastole. And should the language of our vital signs remain unintelligible, speak your practiced farewells, nothing too embarrassingly religious, giving candy stripers first crack at any flower arrangements left for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We did. Yay. Thank you. And now we're going to go into our 15-minute break. Before we go, just to mention our next reading is October 26th, back to the last Saturday of the month. We're going to have Mega Suit, Pamela Hughes, and Josephine Loray, who's in the house. So there you go. And December 7th, we're going to have our anthology reading. See me, Dia, contributors. If you haven't gotten yours yet, see me, Dia. Don't get me on Facebook. And when I come back on, I can't spiel about this too much. But it's gonna be. I'm gonna be beheaded. Trust me. Yeah, Amazon. If you want to get it sooner, you'll go directly to Amazon. If you're Prime, you'll get it in about 1 or 2 days. And we're gonna read. When we come back, we're gonna have who's next on the list. We're gonna have Peter Kozlowski, Margaret Sirocco, Richard Spisak, Hiram LaRue. See Susan Murray, John Beaton. And then we're going to have Charles Cobain read. And then after Charles reads, we're going to have Tammy Smith. Let's see who's left. Neil Klaswamy, Sandy Yvonne, myself, and Roxanne to finish up. So enjoy your break. Go get some coffee, a sandwich, tea, whatever. Schmooze, go to the bathroom. And that's it. Oh, Susan, you're not reading. Oh, okay. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, wonderful stuff.
Fast question, Patricia. It's Beth. It was mailed out. I got my money in for the anthology long ago. How long does it usually take for it to get to us if we ordered it through Brownstone?
If you're a contributor, it'll take like about 7 to 10 days because you're getting it at the cheap price.
Okay,
Guys, Prime,
yes.
I'm
Right.
Prime member, so it's the full price. That's the problem. So what are you gonna do?
That's okay.
So anybody have some shameless plugs to share with us while you're here?
Yeah, I guess I could just repeat the fact that Artful Dodger's poetry, since time is not my friend, is going to be held next Saturday, whatever that is, the 28th, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'll be listing it hopefully later today or at least by tomorrow, laggard that I am, on Eventbrite, where you can register. And if you want to, if you're not already on the Artful Dodgers mailing list, and want to DM me with respect, direct message me with respect to contact information and email address, I'll put you on our mailing list. We tend to be generous to our readers and hope to continue to do so. Hope some of you at least will make it. Thank you.
I want to make an announcement. Patricia and I will be at the Brooklyn Book Festival next Sunday, which takes place in downtown Brooklyn in the park in front of the courthouses. And we'll be right near the Jarleman entrance, right by Brooklyn Borough Hall. So we're right by the train station, and we'll be there. And I guess the fair is from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it's a great opportunity because there'll be a lot of publishers there. There'll be a lot of magazines there. And also, I think universities that have MFA programs will be out there, as well as individual authors who will have their books available. So I will have copies of the books from Poets Wear Prada. Patricia, of course, will have her own titles there, including her novel. And she will also have copies of Brownstone Poets available, which you can still buy at the discounted price if you are a contributor. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, or you haven't ordered it yet, you could go and pay for it there and pick it up there. Does anybody else have an announcement? Please put links to your books or your events in the chat.
Sit down. Okay, what time should we come back on, Roxy? At 3:45?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, because I'm bringing a list of all the contributors and whoever shows up who didn't order their books. I'm gonna have a list and you can get it at the contributor price of $11. Otherwise, it's gonna be on sale for $15 for anybody who's not a contributor. Amazon is $18. Hope I don't get banned now on Facebook now.
You get. Well, fortunately, we're not live streamed on Facebook.
Thank you, God. They'll probably burn us out.
I'm glad the last minute share worked. But we generally don't do a screen share. So if you're not featured, if you're featured, I can make you a co-host and you can screen share. But if you're not featured and you want to, for some reason, share an image or the poem, just give us a heads up before the meeting and we can temporarily make you a co-host so that you can do that. But just give us a heads up and send us what you're going to put up there. I think it would be a good idea.
Let's see. You see all the bats?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna step away for a minute. I'll
Me
be back.
too. I gotta put something in my mouth. I'm hungry. Oh, Jesus.
Harvey, you still there? Harvey?
It wouldn't let me unmute for a minute. Unmute,
Oh, okay.
whatever that is. Yeah.
I have your email or something. I'm not allowed to message you. And I'm very disturbed by something you said that time is not on my side. That you
Well,
flipped off at the end.
let's put it this way. Yesterday, no, Thursday, I was scheduled to attend my, heavens to Betsy, 60th high school reunion. I rented a car. I know I don't look a day more than like 58th high school reunion, but I rented a car to drive out to Long Island. It was going to be 2 hours and change one way and then 2 hours back, to probably see some of these people for the last time in my life, not having seen them for at least the last 10 or 15 years. And I got into the car. I got about 5 miles and I felt such a pain, stabbing pain in my back, which has been causing me problems, that I literally had to turn around and come back and, search, my neighborhood for a parking spot, and go in the next morning, return the car and say, I never went. Don't charge me for gas because there ain't no gas that was used. So, I hear, I mean, I don't know how much longer I've got. I do know this. I started writing seriously very late in life and probably too late, to impress myself upon a younger audience, as it were. So, I mean, I hear the 4 horses of the apocalypse breathing down my neck. I think I wrote something on that 2 days ago, but and it's just the way it is. I could live to be 100. I could croak tomorrow. I mean, anybody could, but when you get up there, it's more likely. So time is,
Well,
time may be on
Harvey,
the wrong side.
But you're not older than dirt. I passed my 60th college anniversary.
Oh, okay. Well, dirt is older than both of us. Dirt is older than, and it will stay
No,
older
I don't know
than
about
both of
that.
us.
I'm
And
pretty
it
much
scrubs us off the mortal coil.
I'm pretty much Andaluvian at this point.
Okay.
But as my French girlfriend says, in English translated, the horizon is getting narrow.
It's getting closer.
Yeah, getting closer.
I don't want to lose myself in the event horizon. Where the hell am I? What am I doing here?
The one good thing is when I first started out working, I started out in the South Bronx as a teacher. And I had a woman chairwoman, which in the 60s was very, very rare. And she lived in Sutton Place. And she used to drive me home when I lived in Manhattan. And I'd get there by train and whatever, and she'd drive home. And she was one of these blue-haired, sophisticated, very, very straight-laced lady. A tremendous administrator, but straight-laced to the core. And we'd get on the FDR Drive. And God forbid anybody passed her or did anything. She'd roll down the window and she would give them the this or the middle finger and curse. She knew every language in the world. And she would curse them out in 46 languages. And I'm sitting there absolutely godsmacked with my tongue hanging out. And she turns around, and this blue-haired lady with her blue eyes, and she looks at me and she says, "You surprised?" I said, I don't believe it, and then she happily rolled back up the window and keep driving. And I was
Those were
shocked.
days before road rage and people
Days before
fun.
road rage. I mean, she was a pistol behind the wheel. And she turns around to me, she says, when you get to be my age, you can cultivate your eccentricities. And I never forgot that, you know.
I've always had them. I'm just more wearing them more naturally than perhaps I might have at an earlier time.
You're right, right.
You know,
So-
I questioned, why did those girlfriends leave me? You know, and now, you know, I'll own up to a little bit of
But
the
you know
blame.
what? The younger kids, because I've got grandkids that are young, and they love it. They think they have, a grandmother who kicks ass, and that not like their parents. Their parents are much more hung up and straight-laced than I am. Believe me, And so they tell me things they'd never tell their parents. Never in a million years. So it's very interesting. But cultivate eccentricities.
Mm. Well,
Okay, the antibiotics I'm taking are beginning to overwhelm me. So I'm going to say toodaloo and hope to see you next Saturday. I hope.
you do.
I got to. All right.
Jill, how you doing? How you
I'll
doing?
post it by tomorrow.
Okay.
You know,
How you doing with the antibiotics, Beth?
Huh?
How you doing? How you
Oh,
doing?
they got me whacked. They got me whacked. I'm not good with antibiotics. There's only one I'm not allergic to. And
oh,
so,
really?
yeah, I'm allergic to everything.
That's not good.
The doctor once said to me, what happens if something serious happens to you? I said, you guys have got to figure it out. That's it.
And now you can't even eat chocolate to soothe yourself
No.
because you'll be thinking it's a hamster.
I
So-
know. Yeah.
I
Okay,
mean,
guys. Hopefully
I
I'll
got,
see you
I
next
got
week.
some chocolate over here. Hamster or no is going down.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Brooklyn Book Fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably see you there.
Schlepping my books and everything, schlepping the anthologies, and my list of contributors who didn't get their books yet.
I'll be the one
Okay.
cursing out the publishers for being so thick-brained is to not be knocking on my door. What can I say?
Yeah. It took me a long time to get this next book out, this third book, to find a publisher that appreciated it.
Yeah, I give great
One-
advice. I absolutely suck at taking it.
Huh? It's very hard. I got from one publisher who told me it was too personal. You've read it.
Professional is it?
What's that? Duh. What is poetry if it's not personal?
In addition to what's personal, what's
I don't know. Find somebody
everything
else.
is confessional.
Huh?
Everything is confessional. I made up a whole story about being from the planet Earth. So it's,
So good luck with you'll eventually it'll work out. You
I
got to
would-
just find somebody who has an
and
open
it's that
heart.
eventually. I mean, people keep asking me, where can I buy it? Where can I buy it? I said,
Yeah, it's rough.
should I
Okay,
give it?
everybody, be good. Enjoy the good weather, and hopefully,
Feel better.
Harvey, why don't you query Jack and me about a book? I mean, I can't guarantee we'll publish it, but we'll certainly look at it if you send us a query.
Oh, all right. I mean, I gotta, I don't know. I think about this. I talk about doing this. If you could see my workspace, which sort of stretches throughout my house, I have boxes and boxes of unfinished poems, notes, 7 versions of a poem because I can't remember where the other 6 are.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get through the Hitchcock poems, which I'm doing one for every film of Hitchcock. And the number of Hitchcock films went up from 54 to 56, so it's like I'm chasing, I guess they discovered 2 more films.
Huh.
So I'm glad to say I now have like 39 done. But for a while, the problem is the poems are handwritten or they're in a text on the phone, or they're in a Word document on the phone, or in the Word document on a laptop. I had to finally just take an effort and put everything together or transcribe everything that was on paper and organize them, including the notes, scan the notes in. Whatever I've written on a napkin or in some little notebook, scan it in and just put it all in one place. And I have like a spreadsheet so I can keep track to see how many more I have to do. And then of course I haven't even bothered to think about the acknowledgments. Some of them have been published, so I have to go, and that'll be my next step, is to put a little.
Simple thank you, everyone.
It's a lot of work. I mean, basically to just, to try to keep yourself organized. I don't know what it is about our writers, but we tend to be kind of like scattered. The stuff is all over the place. Patricia, I have to say, is super amazingly organized. She keeps track of all of her submissions and all of her acceptances, of which there are many, many every week. And she's gotten several books out. I'm very impressed, including a novel, not just, poetry books, but flash fiction and a novel.
Yeah.
And she's working on a new novel and 2 new poetry collections. So you could, Harvey, you can consult with Patricia. Maybe she can give you some tips.
I'd have to catch her between elections.
Right. Yeah. Wait till after.
Please. I'm not that job. Let's not go there.
But at least I've taken to stapling the pages together now, as opposed to trying to figure out what page goes with what poem.
But I would say maybe rather than start with a full-length collection, which is hard to get published, is to organize a chapbook of maybe a dozen or 13 poems.
I have manuscripts, I have chapbooks. I just don't get them out, or don't get them out to the right place, or whatever. I mean, I have one poem that someday I will give myself leeway to read, that I read once at Artful Dodgers when we were doing it, in person, strictly in person, before. That someone referred to as a chapbook, and it's probably a 20-minute poem or something like that. And I've never been able to read it again. I was going to read an 8.5-minute poem today. I even advocated I was going to do that, and then I realized that I may never get to read it again unless I give myself sanction to do so. But one that's also particularly difficult to hear. Yeah, so, and I don't generally do trigger language, but on this one maybe I do.
Okay, we're going to be starting with. Are we ready to go back on, Roxy?
Let me grab myself another cup of tea.
Because it's almost fantastic. Hello, welcome back to the last part of Brownstone Poets. Let me read off who is left here, who's going to be reading on the open for round 2 for the open. This is Peter Kozlowski, Margaret Sirocco, Richard Spisak, let's see, Herm LaRue, let's see, Susan Murray's not reading, John Beaton. And then we're going to come with Charles. Colbein's going to be doing the feature. And then after he's finished, we're going to come back with Noel Klaswani. Is he still here? Neil Kaswani. Sandy left. Myself. Oh yeah, Tammy Smith. I'm sorry about that.
And what about Margaret Sirocco?
Yeah, I mentioned her name. She's in round 2. This is round 3.
Okay.
I have Tammy Smith. I'm trying to read this because everybody's been like moving around here and not showing up. Neil, Sandy left. We're gonna have myself and you, Roxy. Okay.
Okay. Sounds great.
We have Peter, Margaret, and Richard. Peter, unmute and share. Peter, unmute. You're next.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to do my cursor left-handed, and it's good to learn these skills. Anyway, I want to show you my cats.
Oh, let's see.
Can you see my little kitties? Those are the only cats I have now, but these I actually inherited these from J.D. Rage. So
wow.
I keep them up here on the in supervising,
Good. Let's not eat them.
No. They'd never stand for it. Well, this is a poem I put in the anthology, not the current one, but once before. Cats are not all putty tats.
Last year's out.
Cats are not all putty tats. Some of them are seriously nasty. Even some of the ones that are pets. Some cats are out in the alley, caterwauling in the moonlight, dodging thrown objects, making their way among the flea-bitten, the mangy, the junkyard dogs, and the rats that are bigger than kittens. Imagine if you just started learning to hear the cars coming, and now they have these new electric ones that don't make engine noise. Imagine being trapped in a room when your kindly old caretaker takes leave of this life and nobody comes to check. And as much as you hate to, you end up chewing up the mortal coil of your dearly departed. You still might starve to death. Cats are not all putty tats, and they're not always pussy cats either. The big ones, out in the wilderness life, don't seem to play with their food. Except kind of starting to eat it before it's all the way dead, which is one way to be sure it's fresh. But they're ravenous after getting all hepped up chasing the thing down. It's the young urban professional cats that torment the poor little mouse and end up not even eating it. We think they're just getting in touch with their primitive roots, like humans that go hunting and fishing. No. House cats live their whole lives among members of larger species, and they need to be bigger and badder than someone. They're not king of any jungle, a queen of any savannah, more like king of your table legs and queen of the divan. That's why they're good at finding hiding places. They don't climb into boxes, they put them on like tortoise shells. But they've done such a good job of domesticating us humans. Don't they get enough satisfaction out of that? Sure, but that involves a certain amount of being nice. I'm sure they get tired of that. That's simple.
Thank you. Meow. Okay, cats meow. Okay, next we have Margaret Sirocco.
Thanks, Patricia. Hi, everybody. To Gretchen, my love, my brown Chevy Chevette. When first we met, you were brand new with beige seats and a hatchback to fit all my stuff. The 8-track cassette deck I placed on your console, too expensive from the dealership, made us jump. You were my sports econo car, slim enough to fit in small spaces, affordable, devoted, perfect for the daily commute to college. Who knew we would move to Syracuse? I transferred in my second year, and you graduated to a real roadster. The hills were long and steep, the snow and ice unmanageable, but we weathered through. You liked the chains I put on your tires. They made you look tough. And when your starter was stubborn, my friend Billy pushed us up the highest hill, racing down, forcing air into your chambers, yanking the clutch as you came roaring back to life while I screamed with delight. Billy said you were a good car. We believed him. Later, you and I moved to different states, got 2 speeding tickets, and after I finished school, we drove cross country to Colorado, back and forth to Maryland, back and forth to DC, wherever the wind would carry us. We were a pair of no-frills adventurers. We even made believe you were a stick shift, not just an ordinary automatic, making vroom vroom sounds. When we drove back to New York City after picking up my guide, Syracuse, someone broke into you and stole everything except the 8-track and left a thank you note. All my belongings gone, but at least they left you. Your untimely demise came 2 years later. An unexpected joyride left you at the bottom of the Hudson, sunk, gasless, probably not good enough for parts. Broke my heart. The 8-track buried with you, along with all my good tools. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. All right. Okay, next up we have Richard. Great interview with him. Unmute and share.
Thank you so much, my friend. It's an honor to be with you here. I have a brief piece for you that I hope you'll find amusing. I will stay within the time frame. And here we go. This is called Religion, Plain or Peanut. Now, I say peanut because I'm desperately allergic to peanuts. If I eat them, it'll kill me. So here we go. Religion, plain or peanut. Some religionists have come to this, insisting on their style of worship with a fist. Enforcing virtue with a sword seems to belie the sacred word that God is love, as is often said, but enforced and tortured, beaten in on someone's head. May somehow you can tease it out and follow this most curious colorific thread. We've heard some talk of God's free will, yet some would enforce, coerce, indoctrinate at the point of a shaking snake. Seems they'd rely on God's good power in a month or a year, or that it might flower. Others adhere to a belief that you should pray some way or other, or else, my dear, you're in for grief. They believe that their cause is just, and therefore, just like them, you must offer prayer as they, or vastly nasty harm shall come your way. As they interpret scripture, any other way just won't do. They, it seems, have a jealous, zealous God who, in his own quite special way, if you want the nod, otherwise he's got the rod, confines designs, it seems, that you should fold your hands just so, or off to Hades you must go. Or any other prayer, it seems, unsettles them and mars their dreams. God's enforcers they would be, and if you disagree, you may find yourself nailed to a right proper tree. They did this once, or so I'm told, by 10 million statues molded, gilded, and golded sold. You'll find these little statuettes often round their necks with no regrets. Oh, what the heck, they commemorate, or so it seems, this awful, lawful outcome of his plans and schemes to buy freedom for your soul. I don't know if this torture is necessary. I'm not quite sure. So let's go ask Larry. How exactly is it that this painful refrain is quite seemingly necessary? It's under control, yet transcends our friends. It's all quite droll. I'm not sure it's just the way, with all the shrieks and screams this fellow rolls. What the hey? They like to enshrine this God's finest hour, like when he succumbed to judicial, prejudicial Roman power. But it's okay, he's later thrown above, because after the laughter and the refrain of painful disaster, it's all just love above.
Yep, I got a poem about God's will coming up in God, whatever. Okay, next up we have Hiram LaRue.
Thank you. Thanks, Patricia. Thanks to Patricia and to Roxanne for co-hosting today, and to the three features who either have presented or will soon be presenting. This piece is all about reckoning with someone's passing. It first appeared in Hedge Apple. It's titled In the Next Room Over. I'll bet you whatever you want that she won't make it through the night. And that's not being dreary, that's just being honest. So anything out loud she says, pay attention to, but especially do if you hear her coughing, or if you smell doom in the hay, or hear water gushing down drains, because she's preparing. Trust me, long, long ago, when things were as simple as that finger in your ear, she was a goddess, like smoke is in autumn. She was as pure as poured milk, or the fullest of apples. That was then. Now, the situation is a gaspy fish, and the need to avoid and look away is deeply with us. But oh, will you just look here at this little frame? There we were once, posed under a tree, lined up like sparrows. She was the robin. So I tell you this with my heart for my throat. A cool, damp word is the least and the most we can do for her now.
Mm.
Thanks, Patricia.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yay, thank you. And one more before we end round two, before we get to our final feature and round three, we have John Beaton. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, all. I'm zooming from Vancouver Island, Canada, and this poem is about looking at the artwork of Roy Henry Vickers, an Indigenous West Coast artist, and I'm at his gallery in Tofino and thinking of a legend. The story is that elders gave a young artist some paintbrushes, and after using them, he threw them across a mountainside where they took root to become the beautiful red flowering plant we know today as the Indian paintbrush. The poem describes a brush painting 4 of Roy's pictures, introduces the myth, and then redescribes the painting as if, like the mythical Indian paintbrush, as the 4 scenes are coming alive. West Coast Paintbrush, Eagle Eyrie Gallery, Tofino. Oh, sorry, I just lost it. Oh dear. Yeah. It captures the steelhead and pictures the loon, congeals the sun's blood on the sky, makes the moon. Oh, sorry.
Good time.
My screen just jumped. Okay, I think I've got it back. I'm sorry. It captures the steelhead and pictures the loon, congeals the sun's blood on the sky, makes the moon, with the face of an eagle, seem stunned in mid-stare, and freezes the snowflakes to stars in mid-air. It's done it again. I got it's okay. It halts summits, ridges of mountains, those waves we hope will not break till we're safe in our graves. Arrests slanting rain wires and shows through their grill old spirits in costumes of scale, fur, and quill. It stills the high passes in winterkill's grip, clasps rivers in washouts, immerses its tip in a mist and unravels grey horses and men who circle their campfire like wolves round a den. It writes in faint letters, "We paddle with you," as a watermark under a waking canoe, which it draws to a standstill to show us that we also navigate straits in the shell of that tree. In myth, fallen paintbrushes flowered and spread till they rendered the meadows and mountainsides red, and inspired local artists to catch what they see, but the wild, like the paintbrushes, always breaks free. So the steelhead tail swishes and swims, and the loon spears the sunset which bleeds on the sky as the moon uncages its eagle, and snowflakes in flight spread over the canvas like flowers of light. The mountains change colors and rockfalls resume as the rain lashes down and the waterfalls spume, and the spirits of creatures dissolve in the trees and escape through the walls of the art galleries. And the mountain men climb on their horses and ride on the high trails traversing the steep mountainside, and their fire gutters down to a single low flame as the snowmelt makes ice water drip from the frame. And the paddles stroke steadily till they are gone, but the waves of their wake will go rippling on in the minds of the audience standing before these still lifes the eye and the ermine hair bore.
Ah. Wow. No, so wow. It's like fabulous. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Glad we got you on.
Thank you. Sorry about
It's okay.
the glitches.
It's been glitching and glitching all over. Tell me, long stories about glitches this whole week. Okay, we're gonna have a final feature before we move on to the final third round of our open micers. We have Charles S. Colbean. Charles S. Colbean is the son of a Cold War submarine captain and original nuke. Charles earned his BA from Vanderbilt and his MFA from UCLA. He has won 2 Academy of American Poets Awards, a Holland's Literary Festival Prize, a Jim Wayne Miller Prize, a Westchester Poetry Prize, and a Merrill Moore Award. Recently, a group of his poems was finalists for the 2004 Lawrence Goldstein Prize. Publications include Poets Online, Western Humanities Review, Poem, Brownstone Poets, Jacaranda Review, Order, Put in Stone, Fixed, and Quarterly. Confrontation, Outer Bridge, Cumberland Poetry Review, and others. He is collaborating on a book with Josephine Leray. Let's give a warm Brownstone welcome to Charles S. Colbean. Take it away, sir.
Well, thanks for sticking around, and thanks, Patricia, for inviting me. I'm not writing about my father in this group of poems. I have a little suite of poems addressed to my mother in one way or another. I start with this first poem called Stages of Forgiveness. It occurs to me now, just now, there must be stages of forgiveness as there are of grief. A cutback trail up a steep mountain. The first leg, prayer. The second, emptiness. Time may well be the third leg, time for which there is no clock and no telling of. And if there are others, perhaps they're lined with voices soft as wood shavings, our fathers or our mothers urging us forward, on. And maybe there will not be so much sheer elevation, and we can rest a while and catch our breath and glimpse the crest from a stout log. And it'll not be too far at all. And if it isn't, if farther than it appears at first, and stretches out with each thirsty stride, like the desert pool at the end of a simmering road, what then? I'm asking you, what then? Next one is called If She Will. A child leaves a handful and comes back a fist. Who but his mother, who has watched the door Greek-like for his return and never given up her each day's wondering, her longing, who but she can take the knuckled heart and the knowledge it holds of sadness and bury it out back like the hills bury the moon? Who but she can burrow the clammy black soil, then fold it over and pat it down and wait for spring in the cave pale shoots, all 5, for they will be fist no more, and stand there with them in the gelling light and remark on each yearning tendril. Who but she, who loves him, who has sworn to love him, who has bathed him in love, anointed him with its sacred oil, poured it over his hair and combed it carefully through, though he complained and would not sit still, who has fed him bowls full, hot with a pinch of pepper and sage, listened to his prayers, felt his forehead, pulled the quilt over his shoulders in the cold night. Who but she can do such things for him? Again, if she will. Let us say the world hangs on it, or a piece of the world, their shared world, their patient shared world. And when next he proceeds alone, without maps, and as she knows he will, for that is his nature, which she loves. When again he follows stars and rivers and roads, when he crosses the oceans and borders of countries so old they have forgotten how to dream. When he walks where no one loves him, he will still be able to love himself, and she can let him go. Next is called Birds. I think of her when birds pip outside an open window, small birds with high lilting voices like hers and charming warbles, no harsh caws or squawks. I think how her voice changed after her fall and the bleed, deep and coarse, not at all bird-like, as if she were already speaking from a fearful place. She called in her rough new voice to my father, who no longer was, or was it to her eldest son with the same name, my brother? Then she stopped speaking, and it no longer mattered. Still her lips moved as if singing to herself, remembering all the words where they went. It wasn't true, not entirely. I came out of expectations, hovering bedside with my brother and my sister for the end that hung like a cold moon over our shoulders. But I think it was true, entirely true, of my brother who lived in singed silence and brooded over his place in things, impermanence. I don't think he understood, as his mother, she forgave him for his fury and discontent each day, and that each day he needed it a little more, and that now it was his turn to forgive, called to the rail. For a child must forgive his mother, whose pity and fear for her firstborn surely cut, but did not slam, whose unkindness to our father at the last was only the air around her growing wet with ash. Out in the hall, a nurse whispered, "Another 2 weeks." So my brother went home and missed his chance. He nearly missed the internment too, appearing late in a lift in haphazard clothes. I think of him, my brother, now, even now, years later, how that sepsis still wrings his gut like a towel, how he finds birdsong so disquieting. Next one's called Day at the Museum. On the long drive in, she wears those jumbo bruised black wraparounds that scare my kids, but blunt the bladed light that shivs her eyes. She has a pink house without windows, useless to throw stones. Out front, for just a moment, I watch my children chase shrieking around the fountain, late December, fountain empty, coins all fished out, and the same vindictive blue sun that torments my mother praises my children, which warms me, despite the bitter city gust, for whose child does not need praise. I want to see her eyes, to see if she too is smiling, but her glasses do not betray her. Nearby, a small bell lifts. I am trying to remember why on this day of violent light and snow-encrusted emotions, this day when she was still alive and my children were still children, she insisted on a museum of all places to attend with two bugling fauves like mine when we could have gone to the aquarium. Surely some point she was trying to make, without actually pointing, left-handed compliments, lesson after lesson. When we at last step in out of winter, it is perfectly warm, with a more favorable light, not a single sun shaft or fluorescent in sight. And if we do not race down corridors and purr instead of bark, we just might find it, the ivory-tinted room of the great untamed Matisse, crouching there in old frames, waiting to carry each of us out, beyond, if we will let him. Ah, how she loved a good gallery, but not my children. Next is a persona poem. My mother in her madness remembers herself. How new we seem, mommy, daddy, little boy, me, here in high woven chairs fanning out like thrones. Sunlight tips like a glass and pours over us its grace. It's Easter, just before my birthday, the year I skipped a grade, the year before the war. The weather here is perfect, but when is it not? I have just arrived into my beauty, a plumeria blossom in yellow and white, and my good shoes are off like Moses on the holy ground. See? See how daddy smiles? And mommy? I can't remember when it was she stopped. Tutu took this for us with daddy's Argus. Oh, how she doted on me, my Tutu, sewed my clothes, brushed my hair, blessed my futures. She called me her rainbow, her Anue Nue, her Pua. She had a way of looking right inside me with 1,000 eyes, the way a camera cannot. From out front on the big lanai where we're sitting, we can pick out daddy's great gray ship nested on the row. Follow my eyes down the valley to the harbor. There, majestic, stately, a walled city, 1,000 men. She was a lucky ship, made it out to sea when the war began right in front of us, when so many did not. That too was a Sunday. We watched from up here, from the steps, gawping, heard the terrible thunder, held to each other, unmoving, unable to hide. Poor Daddy, down there, on duty, never the same after, spilled out on deck, sometimes mean. That was the end of his duty. Still, it is this house I picture when priests speak to me of paradise, its scarce native woods, koa, lama, kamani, always 6 shoulders wide, open at both ends to the winds, mountain and shore, taking turns out and in, the whole house breathing as the island itself breathes. It is never hot. Behind it is our garden, hidden, a place for me to stare out over the edge and not ever be lost. I wonder if it's still there, if I can find it, if the lawn will rise again to receive me, if there is enough time to cross its cool, coarse grass and dream, breathe in the floating scents. Na'u, kahili, pakake, plumeria. Next one, called After His Death. Cages opened in her grief, through thickets feral things ravening, stalking, as flame fills spirit, as spirit consumes self. Hers was not the grief of a woman with years, having been kissed by presidents, christened ships, sipped monks' Himalayan tea. Prayer could not hope to contain it, nor whispers of priests and friends, children. So he stayed, hung around, didn't go, sank her grief deep within himself, and drifted there in the room that still echoed with his name. One night he sang to her with singed winged voice the old vaquero songs, a kiss in her sleep. When the iron vanished, it was he who hid it behind his old sweaters in the shiffa robe and locked it. His the wet footprints on the tile, the red kettle at night whistling. When she told us, we hardly knew what to think. But sometimes even in our disbelief, we would catch his scent, mulled spice, and hydraulics. When her years ended, she called to him. I saw him, I thought, over my shoulder. My brother only, stepping closer, thinking she must have meant him. Nonetheless, I spoke. He is waiting, I said, and hoped I wasn't wrong. And another voice that wasn't mine said, Jeannie, and she lowered her lids half-mast and went. Next poem is called Beaumont Crowns Beaumont, Cherry Festival Queen. This is her, high school girl of mesmeric beauty, perched on the back of a convertible, pre-war and tiara, satin sash, sweetheart roses swaddled in the soft cradle of her left arm. Look, the blooms are black-faced here in this clipping, though I am confident they are as red as the cherries the town celebrates, just as I am certain her eyes are astonishing twin scoops of this bright high valley sky. For I know her well, this girl who will one day be my mother. And I know the townspeople she waves to with her slender free arm have gathered off camera along the avenue between 6th and 9th and are waving back, marveling to have stumbled over a queen with their town's own name. And from not too far, Long Beach they'd heard. And so enchanting a one is this, surely a goddess of a kind, one of great good fortune, come into their midst to bless their bounty and endeavors. Even the day's wind that spears through the pass raises up her hair like an offering. Here, though paper only and ink dusty and the war near, there is no death. She has scarred no one yet, is free of barbs and spikes, all soft edges and innocent of each curse to be hurled and wound inflicted, has done nothing by the instant the town photographer flash snaps his picture, but bask in the speechless light she was born into, with no thought of what comes next. Listen, I believe she haunts me for a reason, stands just there with her arms open on the silvered side of breath's glass. It's some, none. Her smile incapacitates me. Do you hear me? I'm saying I don't know what to feel anymore. This darkness I have owned for so long, she wants to take it and give me something else in its place. She wants to trade with me, trade for this day, this single sacred processional day before the others. And if it will make the difference, if it will be enough, she is here, still here, sun-soaked, waving. I have one final poem that wraps it up, called Late to the Sky. I thought I would have seen the signs, but I could only see them in reverse. I thought the sycamores steaming in the morning's magnified light were your madness, but the trees only had been caught thinking the spring too soon. I thought I would remember your cloudless luminescence, your curtains of light, but I only remembered the places you fell. I thought you would be in a better place, but you were restless and would not stay put. You were the leaves October turning in the wind that rattled through them. I thought when the bladed moon pierced the distance, I might see your face, revenant or memory or wish, but the moon was just a mirror the stars held up. I thought I would be able to speak easily of you as of a character in a story, but your voice followed me and was dust on my tongue. I thought after you would want your grandchildren to have your things, but their houses were already full of grief. I thought you would pass along the answers to big questions so that I might have knowledge, but you came to me asking instead for forgiveness. Sorrow's blanket settled on my shoulders. Then I thought the floes stacked on the river flanks were the ice jags of our long bitterness that I would never make my way past. Yet the sun rose late to the sky, and the water ran high and fast all the way to the bay. Then I thought, who must I be to you now, if not a pebble when the creek falls low? Yet inside the pebble I found the prayer you'd left. I had thought from the start your gifts would enslave me, as they had my brother, my sister. But what more did you ever need to give me than this day, this solitary day? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, Charles, excellent. So heartfelt. Yeah, I can understand why Josephine is collaborating with you. This is just absolute masterpiece.
Well, you know how good she is.
So I have the three guys together today. Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to move on to the grand finale of our last round three of the open. We have Tammy, we have Neil, myself, and Roxanne. Tammy, welcome. Take it away, unmute and share.
Hi, thank you, everyone. That was so beautiful. Thank you. I wrote this a couple hours ago, so it's raw and a work in progress, like life mostly in progress. My son's first high school cross country meet at the same course where I used to run, so it was a lot of maybe all you can relate who have kids when your kids start a new chapter of high school or something and reliving what it's like. So it's great to be able to share with other writers who will appreciate the vulnerability of sharing a fresh experience still in the making. I met my soul on the starting line of my son's race this morning, marveling at the distance an ego will travel back in time to resist trying to forgive herself in the process of running away from an old cross-country course, tripping over the ruins of loose change like a charted paper trail or a cheap roll of pennies I toss into a shallow shopping mall fountain, reflecting the depth of my disgust in front of a dressing room mirror, having to try on new clothes in a larger size, glimpsing another version of myself through the revolving door, peeking through the past. Like a cassette tape, I keep listening to the scratchy sound of repeating the same mistakes, like exerting too much pressure on an old wound and wondering why nostalgia bleeds like a yellow ribbon I ripped from my hope chest, swelling from the inflammation of torn muscle memory, the ice and heat melting off perfection's peak, and raging race to win, win, win. What? We're stuck measuring what we may be most afraid of losing, those precious seconds I waste chasing hot air.
Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Come again. Oh, wow. Okay, next we have Neil. Unmute and share. Welcome. That was fabulous what you and Mona did earlier. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Okay, I have a few short ones. Hopefully stick to the time limit. The first one, appropriately, I think, is Song for the Equinox. I doubt the night and day worry too much about the equinox, this twice a year happenstance, where they both get to have an equal say, equal dark and equal night, just happen as naturally as the night slips off the socks of the day, and as smoothly as the day, one sleeve and leg at a time, discards the pajamas of the night, not over worried about dysfunctional sundials and broken water clocks. Perhaps in our hearts and minds, and in our bones and blood, and in our thoughts and deeds, we too, over the course of a lifetime, achieve this sort of natural balance, where on the semi-annual gathering of the angels and devils within us, who cast their equal umbra and penumbra in the shadowlands of our souls. That's the first one. The second one is about a tiny village in India, which was the country of my birth, and it's called Kong Thong. Kong Thong, population 750. Yes, you heard that right. Just 750 folk in all, to this hilly village in Meghalaya, which in Sanskrit means land of the clouds. Over there, they speak a language called Khasi. They also speak English. Kongthong in Khasi means the singing village, which derives its name from their whistling language, Jiangwai Lobe, which in Khasi means whistling lullaby. As a newborn babe, each native of Kongtong is assigned a unique whistling lullaby by his or her mother. It is said that the female voice has cultivated the whistle register, a continuous range of pitches, a trading of larynx for lips, air quivering to become sound. The infant learns to respond to this call out. In time, other villagers will learn this whistling tune, a unique mellifluous warble, a name that gets whistled throughout their lives as a beckoning, as a greeting, as a blessing, as a salutation, as a warning. When a villager of Kongtong passes on, that particular whistle lullaby that was his or hers will be retired and will not be heard ever again amongst the hills and the trees or along the network of living root bridges. That particular sound will be forever silenced. And the last one, which is hopefully a very short one, and it's titled Beneath the Very Same Sky. In a ritual of healing for his tribe, before the sun begins to set, the Navajo artist will rub out all traces of his sun-kissed work, pushing every grain of sand back into the canvas of the desert, ready for sunrise, for the sand art to follow. We poets have so much to learn from this. How so very hard it is for us then to feed last night's magnum opus into a shredder, to lean all the way on the backspace key, or use a thick Sharpie to score out every stanza, to consign chiefs of foolscap to the fire. The Navajo sand artist gazes up at star constellation, whilst the poet ponders that oxymoron, final draft. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming. Come again. Okay, and next up is me and then Roxanne. Okay. I'm going to be political. In God we trust. In God we trust. From sea to shining sea, we're the land of the free, home of the brave. Our right ears wear maxi pads. We rally for insurrection and chant the word fight. We raise our fists for the one who almost died for our sins. We love our cowboy heritage, and who cares if we live and die by the gun? To bear arms is as American as Granny's apple pie. Heaven sent him to make America great again. Banned books will feed the bonfire. A barbecue in hell awaits each reader. With blessings from above and the Supreme Court, our King will make it happen. Blessed be the fruit. Roe v. Wade is dead. She will accept God's gift, even die giving life to that babe. We obey the two-gender rule because Eve, not Steve, was created from Adam's rib. She will serve her man till death do they part, and cats must not interfere. In God we trust. He's a white cisgender male, walks the right path. Bless his corporations, and we, his supporters, praise God in America, while expecting Amazon to deliver our long-awaited rapture. And two haiku, serious stuff. We'll repeat it twice. They're all political too. They are 575s. Change comes in color. Trees sense a shift in season. People still asleep. Change comes in color. Trees sense a shift in season. People still asleep. And finally, an awakening. Lifeless world sprouts infant leaves. Hope isn't dead yet. An awakening. Lifeless world sprouts infant leaves. Hope isn't dead left yet. And now Roxanne will end it up. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to read two of my abecedarians, which were recently published in Riverside Poets Anthology 2024. So one is called Nightingale Opera, and it's after The Man Who Knew Too Much, 1956. And these are abecedarians, which means each line begins with the next letter of the alphabet, starting from A and ending at Z. Nightingale's Opera. An abduction begs couples' deaf ears, fake grins, handshakes, ignoring jabbing knives, lips, last murmurs neglected, offspring, only son, only 7, prima mama, pressing, pleading, que sera, sera, repeatedly. Something tells us we're the uglies. Viva la vita. Whatever will be, we whistle a happy tune. X marks the spot, though this one's tight. Yankee yokels, youngster in tow. We zip up our bags and hightail it home. Zippity doodah, zippity day. And the next one is called The Pursuit of Happiness, after Saboteur, Hitchcock, 1942. Accused of arson, best bud dead, boy next door bolts, leading cross-country chase with determination and an envelope, evading the authorities to follow a guy named Fry. Gunshots ring, grab your gal, hold her close and hostage, but insist on your innocence. Join a circus, then a circle of spies. Keep up with the Joneses by laying low and letting her go. Madcap masquerade and manhunt ends in good old New York, New York, where all ordinary Janes and Joes go to make it. Police, protagonists, ascend. quilted skies, rally atop Lady Liberty's sunset gilded torch. Twilight unfolds, threads unravel, unblinking, verdigris eyes vacant stare, hours wide as wingless 11th hour prayer plummets, yielding 0 hour release for all.
Whoa, bravo, Roxy. Keep it going. Hitchcock lives. Yes. Oh, beautiful.
Well,
Okay.
thank you everyone for coming. That was like an amazing, wonderful reading. And oh my God, all the open micers, the features were like, wow. And the open mic was wow too.
We have newcomers. Thank you all. You really wowed us. And don't forget, come again, October the 26th. We're going to have Mega Sood, Pamela Hughes, and Josephine LeRae is going to be back. So there she is. She's going to be featured. And Charlie's going to be there. Okay. So please come back. And we just a little unusual because we did it this week instead of the following week because we're going to do the Brooklyn Book Fair. So that's why we're a week earlier. So thank you everybody for sharing. And a warm Brownstone thank you to Harvey Sauce, Mona Skill. Sorry if I'm messing up your name. And Charles Colbean, thank you. And thank you, Warm Brownstone. Thank you to the audience, the poets, Brooklyn, the world, Canada, across the nation, the world. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you, Neil, where are you from? Where are you from, Neil? India?
I'm based in Singapore.
Oh, and thank you, Singapore, for coming. Reach Singapore. That's a first for us. Yes. Thank you, and come again. And enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, Patricia.
We'll be sending everybody a link to the live stream. So if you want to watch it on YouTube again and enjoy it again, you can.
Thanks.
Thank you. Stay safe, everybody.
Yep. Good night, all.
Good night.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yay.
Yeah. Got to get to my Rice Krispies.
Heard that before.
You laugh, but you're right. You've heard it from me.
Got a banana.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Josephine.
Yeah.
Safe trails.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Be well, everybody.
See you next time.
Let's see, where is this thing? Oh, there we go.
Peter, good night.
Okay, Patty, I'm going to end the call and call you.
Okay, great. Okay, ciao for now. Meow.
Bye.
Bye.